Go half on over. We are live. Now this is the first time I've said that, and James hasn't been the opening shot. You going?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Cool. So we are in somewhere tonight. We're in Columbus, Ohio. We're kind of on the outskirts, on the north side, which actually has worked out really well because we're kind of coming along. Came from Lima, like Lima's here, and Barnesville is here, and Columbus is kind of here. But we're staying on the north side, which has been an absolute blessing because we were originally going to. Hang on, I'm just going to check this real quick because it's always my worst fear is pressing the record button and then it not recording because yeah, I don't know what I'd do then because it'd just be such a bore to re-record it all and all the spontaneity of the vlog. But yeah, and it's really lucky as well because yesterday we arrived in Lima and we'd messaged a few people in Columbus before, and it hadn't worked out, and none of them had said yeah. Like all of them said no or not replied, and we decided to phone a few more people in Columbus because it's a pretty big city, and luckily we literally leaving voicemails and stuff, and no one was replying, and phoned up this guy Michael, and he originally didn't pick up because he thought it was a scam. He apparently thought it was a scam because it was this British number, and then we sent a text, and and then he was like, oh, these guys are for real, and he messaged us back, and turns out literally within a day's notice, so kind of them to put us up for the night, and they've just been setting up the TV for us. So we're in a really good mood. I'm in a really good mood. But we're gonna come on to that at the end of the day. As always, the main part is the cycling. So we left yesterday in Lima, arrived at 4 p.m. High spirits, really good day. Just a 110 miles. Yesterday was like 110 miles, and we went to the subway. The Wi-Fi was awful though, so we struggled to watch Lucifer. But we got a sub. Had the Artisan flatbread, that was amazing. But again, less about the off day, more about the cycling. So we came back, watched a bit more TV, chilled out early night. First night of like 9 hours sleep. So we were in a long time. Well, probably since Chicago. But even then, you didn't sleep that well. Yeah. So got a really solid night's sleep, which was nice, even despite the dingy motel. And it is kind of nice because we were saying that how much the motel would be like nice because we didn't have any obligations as guests, or because it's kind of because you obviously like here it's incredible. It's purely out of the generosity of the community, the cycling community putting you up, and obviously in the motel you have to pay for the night, but it was kind of nice to just be able to chill and just go straight to sleep, and woke up for we allowed ourselves a bit of a so we slept until like 6:30. So 9:30 till
7:30.
This morning?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we slept until like 7:30. So I had a nice line. Went over to the Waffle House where we had a huge plate of waffles and hash browns and toasties and eggs and bacon and all the rest of it. Loaded up on coffee, and off we shot out of the Waffle House. And this is the first time this has happened to me this entire trip, 4 weeks in, which has been absolutely bizarre. And I was on the left side of the road, and James called out and he was like, Sam, other side. And I was like, what? It's just, so weird that just happened 27 days in, and it has literally never been an issue before. But I guess I was just all relaxed in the subconscious. But yeah, anyway, aside from that small mishap, we carried on our way. Pretty straightforward. We hit it was an 85-mile day ahead of us, and because we've got that fitness built up and we're we're feeling up for it, especially being well rested, we decided we did 2 40-mile chunks just over. Got those audio books plugged in, and we were on our way, and we had a bit of a crosswind. We thought we'd nailed the crosswind, but it was coming from the north before, and we thought going southeast we'd get a bit of a cross/tailwind, but now suddenly coming from the south, so we were kind of ploughing straight into it, and it's pretty rough going, but manageable, clipping along probably 50 miles an hour, and we were going along, and then on Highway 31 I think it was, and 25 miles in, James got a puncture, And you want to explain like why that's
Yeah,
kind
it's
of gains?
knackered back wheel, so lots of stuff in it.
Yeah,
Trying to keep puncturing. So bought a new one today.
yeah, because like this here highway was actually quite clean, wasn't it? There's probably like something inside before that's possibly compounded. Hard to tell, but yeah, we literally picking through for like 10 minutes or so. All the stuff built up in this back tire. It's been 2,500 miles now, or 600 probably today, and yeah, but managed to carry on going on the new inner tube and all the way to lunch, which we then, so instead of doing 240-mile chunks, we did 20 miles and then 25 miles and then another 30 miles into lunch, which was in Broadway. And we took a slight south turning for that at one point, straight into the headwind. And Google Maps is really cool because now it's got this little feature where it tells you your speed. And we were going at 17 miles per hour, and I was like, this is awesome. And we turned, and suddenly it dropped all the way down to 11 miles per hour, which just shows the effect of the wind. It's literally like climbing uphill, despite the fact it was really flat today, which was gutting. But we went into the Broadway, as usual, hit up a gas station. They were really nice, allowed us to eat our sandwiches inside. You grabbed some Coke and some crisps, and yeah, feeling positive. It was overcast as well, which was brilliant in the morning because it was just cool, especially with that little bit of sunburn that we picked up. It's was a bit of welcome relief, and yeah, so carried on our way down highway. I think it was 309 at this point, and on to do the last 30 miles. So that 30 miles took us 2 hours, and we stopped for lunch, and we were aiming to get in for, because it was a bit of a long stop for the puncher, we were aiming to get in for about 3:30, and
4:30, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, to here 4:30, but to the
Yeah.
bike shop it was 3:30,
Okay.
and it was and so clipped along quite nicely, got into town, and we cut out. We kind of took the car route essentially, and cut out a few miles, which was quite nice. But then we as a navigation decided to take this diagonal kind of bike route which cut across, and there's been some lovely bike routes and some awful bike routes this trip. There's been a real mixture, but decided to risk it because we're feeling pretty good. The rain was coming down at this point. Also, we haven't mentioned two huge things. Well, the first thing isn't so huge. A dog came running out of the garden, and it was kind of running diagonally towards us, but there's a big ditch in the way, and I thought it was chill. James picked up speed, and then suddenly it rounded the ditch and came straight at us, sprinting down the road, down the highway. And so I was like, "Oh no, we're in trouble," because it's uphill into the kind of headwind, and started sprinting as well. And that was a bit of a scary moment, but the dog peeled off. It's decided it wants to just go chill in the front garden again. But yeah, after lunch. And also there was one point where we went by. There was a train stopped, and this was before lunch. And it was so stupid of the train, because it was literally, if it had moved 10 meters to the right.
Yeah, but these trains like a kilometre long.
Yeah, it's true. They're huge. You think they're 2 kilometres long, they're like 10 metres, nothing to them. But obviously this was the back of the train, and it was just stuck there, and the driver probably didn't know, well, I don't know if he had any idea, but there were literally cars. They had obviously been stuck there for a while, because there were cars backed up for literally miles. We took a time lapse eventually, and so we decided we kind of walk the bikes across. We literally like 10 meters along, picked up the bikes, went across the train track and carried on. And then about 10 minutes later, a load of cars started to come by us, which had been all blocked up because of the train. And so we stopped for lunch, carried on our way, and train tracks usually cross at like a 90-degree angle.
Yeah.
And so you go over and there's a bit of a bump, but which is kind of like we've had a couple of water bottles pop out in that situation before, but and your bum hurts a bit, but apart from that, it's fine. But we came across this train track on this highway, and it was kind of running diagonal, if not like a very acute angle to the highway. And we saw that, and I was kind of navigating, and then I looked up, and too late, and my front tire got lodged in the track, and I just about managed to twist and turn and pull out, and then I was still losing balance before I hit the second of the train tracks. The front wheel got lodged again, and just threw me onto the ground, and so skidded to a stop. Literally panniers flew off my bike, as did the water bottles. James somehow managed to stay upright despite these train tracks, and avoid me, which was especially impressive, because I felt myself falling. I was like, oh no, kind of accepted it, and then I realised James was behind me, and I was falling into his path, and I was like, oh gosh, that was quite scary, and because as well you're clipped in, and skidding to a stop, you can't like roll or anything, so it just grazed all up my side a bit, and then. But it was fine, bruised but not like hurt or anything, so that was all good. And got up, put the panniers and the water bottles back in, and luckily, so luckily, the wheel and the rim wasn't bent at all. None of the spokes were broken, and the paintwork as well was pretty much intact because the panniers cushioned the impact. And the only thing that was badly done, a tool hurt about the bike was like a bit of the grip of the handlebars. So really fortunate with that one, like considering that could have gone really badly wrong. With still about 20 miles to go or so, and the car behind us actually very kindly, I've just realised, had kind of stopped just before the train tracks and put its hazards on, to so none of the traffic would come our way, and we quickly hopped off the highway and let it pass. But yeah, that was that was a pretty intense moment, and the rain was coming down as well at this point, which stung with the grazes. And yeah, I was saying afterwards, it was a pretty straightforward day. It's like 85 miles, and as flat as any of them come. And I was saying, it's been pretty straightforward apart from the problems that we've had. And it's like, yeah, well, and James said, yeah, well, it's kind of the problems that make it not straightforward. It's kind of, yeah. So it wasn't a straightforward day, but it should have been. Pulled into the bike shop. There's a weird flashing red light which held us up for ages, but we eventually just shot past that because we weren't really sure what the point of it was. Got into the Trek bicycle store. So James now riding with, well, to be fair, they're not. Yeah, it's just a standard tire. But as we were kind of laughing how on the Bianchi bike we had the Specialized saddle and the Trek tire, even though it's not a Trek tire, it's something gator tire. That's it. And yeah, fixed it up, which is good. So hopefully we should be solid for the next few miles. Went to Starbucks, called ourselves a Menadil and Lucifer, which I think the lady kind of costed on for that. And got a muffin as well, and then headed on our way literally a mile down the road to this house. And it's been amazing. They're really chatty. James headed off to Mass, and I had a good old chat with Mike about. Turns out he's big Tarantino fan, which is always a bonus. And had a good chat about his cycling adventures, his daughter's cycling adventures. He's leading adventure cycling, which is amazing. And then James came back, put the clothes in the wash, hopped out to dinner, which was amazing as well. Like $10 basically for a pizza, and it was double like thick crust or whatever. And you put on whatever toppings you want, no extra cost whatsoever, just literally whatever you wanted. So I put on pretty much every single topping you could, every single meat, every single cheese, like barbecue base, tomato and pesto, so loaded on the calories, and a root beer float, which is amazing because they kind of bubble up and they've got ice cream and they're just divine. But I won't get into that too much because it's not the cycling and we need to get this vlog over with. But that filled us up. Yeah. Just ridiculous, like so many toppings. I can't even emphasize that enough. So I'm not going to bother trying. And we left there, came back. Mike very kindly set up the TV for us. Big fight on tonight, but unfortunately not going to be able to watch that. But it's probably for the best because we need all the sleep we can get, and it only starts at 11:30. And yeah, we're all showered, got 2 comfy beds, and ready to settle in for the night. Got probably 120 miles ahead of us tomorrow, so that's quite a big day. But we should be able to bash that out in 4 30-mile slots and get into Barnesville, which is our next stop, still in Ohio. And tomorrow is when the elevation is really hitting, because we've been doing far less elevation per day than on average it should be from Chicago to DC, if that makes any sense. So now we're making up all that elevation that we haven't done in the past few days, and it says we have basically 3,000 or something up and down. It's over this Appalachian mountain range really, which we've been told so much about, but that's according to Google. So according to Strava, it's probably going to be like 6,000-7,000 or something ridiculous. So we're dreading that a bit because we've already, and the map looks spiking up and down all this elevation. So we're kind of nervously anticipating that. It's going to be a tough day tomorrow. Hopefully the winds are in our favour. Looks like the storms are going to follow us all the way though.
All day, yeah.
So with that, it's going to be really intense tomorrow. Probably a load more stories to bring you, but we're going to keep it short and sweet and say goodnight because we want to get our rest. So yeah, see you tomorrow in Barnesville.